All my life I have felt something inside me was missing. When I was a child I thought it was loneliness or self-confidence. As a teenager I, like many others, thought whatever was broken in me I could bandage with alcohol and later drugs. This numbed my pain and calmed my fears, but was only a temporary relief and just led to a serious drinking problem by my later teens. Juggling school and work with my inebriated brain was an exercise in futility, and soon the house of cards collapsed. Luckily I was still living at home, but being jobless, a failure at college and a full-time alcoholic erased me from existence. The promising future I once had now seemed counterfeit and mere fraud. Those were dark days. My drunken state stretched from the moment I would black out until whenever I might awake, unable to comprehend my own self, where I was, which memories were real and which were nightmares. This carried on for months until I could no longer bribe myself to stay alive anymore. Suicide began to become my only thought until one October night. Drunk as usual I, for a change, walked outside into the moonlight. Bathed in darkness, I felt myself begin to walk deep into my neighborhood. Each street went to another, and like a serpent coiled behind. Being very drunk made every step seem almost like a lucid dream. The world was confused enough to seem safely unreal, with only tiny bits of the familiar and real to assist my movements. At some point a figure in the distance, coming towards me on the road, caught my attention. I kept moving towards it, and by doing so found the road we were soon to share was a dead end. Neighborhood construction had ended about 6 house lots past the last one inhabited. The movement stopped, and for a moment the figure stood motionless under the streetlight. It was a girl. A very attractive girl. Possibly 16, 17. She was stopped in her tracks watching me. The sight of this girl, alone, fragile, beautiful, but also of delicious helpless trust. The closer I got, my heart began to violently pound. I began to smile, and as I passed the last dark spot before her streetlight I picked up a piece of wood. A perfect thick rectangular piece that stretched from my fingertips to my elbow. Still smiling, still walking, my grip tightening, I said, just as I passed in the last shadowed ground before her, a mumbled hello as I swung the wood as hard as I could from above her head across her face. She was still conscious, and began to share, but only a faint breathless squeal escaped before the four tackled her and dragged her into the woods just off to the left. As we tumbled in I covered her mouth and listened. Nothing. Then I turned my attention back to her, and all my rage and bottled misery was unleashed on her. The shadows and trees decorated my homicidal loss of virginity, and I savaged her like every monster I ever wanted to be. This lasted quite a while. My drunken state, my frenzy, my euphoria at my own becoming the momentous moment seemed to stretch on until infinity, while I was able to inhabit its beauty while becoming a part of its perfection. At the end I strangled the girl and dragged her a little deeper into the woods and left. I was still buzz drunk when I arrived home, careful to be silent as though I'd never left, and collapsed on my bed. The next day I was changed. Whatever was missing in me before that girl now filled. This was the moment. My moment of awakening. I listened intently for any mention of a missing teen or girl, but it never came. After 4 days I began to feel paranoid. Maybe I had been so drunk I dreamed it all. So I took a walk, retracing my steps back to the dead end I remembered. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. The street was deserted. So I entered the woods and walked about 40 feet until I saw the brush pile under a huge pine tree. There, hidden just out of view, was her bare left foot laying across her right thigh. I did not try to see more. I left her for the critters. Hopefully they would erase some of her away and complicate the whole of her discovery.